Welcome back to Uncharted Waters with Admiral Waters. I'm your co-host, Lieutenant Commander Kenneth Bradley. Lock in with us as we have a conversation about mission and mindset pertaining to all things Navy recruiting. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And share it with everyone. Send it to your mom, send it to your dad, send it to yourself and watch it 50 billion times. All right, let's get into the conversation. And welcome back to another amazing episode of Uncharted Waters with Admiral Waters. I'm your co-host, Lieutenant Commander Ken Bradley, and we're here with Master Chief Kimball. Welcome and thank you for joining us today.
Yeah, welcome.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
Today we're going to talk about DEP meetings, and we're going to dive deep into the DEP. But first, before we do that, Master Chief, if you can please tell us a little bit about yourself.
A little bit about myself. So I've been in the Navy for just over 18 years. Joined in May of 2007. Started off as a damage controlman. Did one sea tour on the John C. Stennis. Then picked up orders to go to Los Angeles for recruiting duty. And never looked back. So went from Bremerton, where the Stennis was stationed, to Los Angeles, to Miami, to San Diego, to Millington, and then to Nashville, and now back again.
Back to Millington.
Yeah.
The center of the recruiting universe.
The birthplace of recruiting.
Yeah, that's right. I don't know. Maybe that was probably Boston.
Yeah.
But it was a press gang then, so we're not talking about that.
Yeah.
All right, we'll dive right into it. Master Chief, most recruiters are familiar with what DEP is, but can you briefly spell it out and explain its role in the Navy's recruiting process?
Yes, so the role, almost by definition, or the purpose, right? So you want to motivate and develop a relationship with the future sailors, mentoring relationship, to prevent attrition, right? Then you want to make sure you prepare them both for RTC and a little bit of the Navy, generate DEP referrals, of course, and then maintain their eligibility. So make sure that they are, once they join, that they're maintaining how they were when they joined, not doing extra things or getting hurt or getting in trouble or whatever the case is.
Yeah, so this delayed entry program is the period between when the person signs on the dotted line, yep, I am joining the Navy as a damage controlman.
Yes, sir.
And I intend to ship off to boot camp on, this date in the future. It's that period between when you signed to when you ship.
Yes, sir.
And there's a delayed entry.
Right.
And it works, I think, for both parties, both the Navy and the sailor and the future sailor, because most future sailors, when they come to us, and you can validate with your significant experience in the field, are not ready to sign on the dotted line and ship that day, right? Most people see this major life decision as sequential. I'm making the decision, then I'm going to get myself in order, my stuff in order, my relationships in order, and then I'm going to go.
Correct.
We know just statistically it's harder. If I haven't filled all the shipping slots 2 weeks from now, yikes, that's going to be hard. Right. But for the Navy, having that pool, essentially a surge tank of sailors that are signed up, future sailors that are signed up and haven't gone yet, it gives us some flexibility in when we exactly send them to fit where the training lines that, finish boot camp, sit down in that seat. And all those things you mentioned are how we maximize the effectiveness of that time.
Yep.
Yeah, it's really good.
Master Chief, you previously led the DEP Innovation Group.
Yes, sir.
Can you tell us a little bit about what you did with that group?
Yes, so a couple of things came to fruition. Thank you, sir. So working on the development of a DEP app, different from eHelm or any of the other tools that we have, but something to kind of put literally in the palm of a future sailor's hands, where they could potentially check in and do things like that, kind of to align with some present day stuff, right? We're doing stuff on sheets of paper, and the reality is it's almost 2026, and they can do that stuff electronically, right? Not only is it easier for the future sailor administratively, but for the recruiter, definitely saves time. So that was one of the things. The other thing was, some DEP PT stuff that we had proposed, as far as a binder and some videos to help new recruiters or even recruiters that have been in the game for a while, just kind of get a refresh on, some of the standards and some of the requirements that are out there. And what, I don't want to say what right looks like, but examples of what right looks like. Because obviously through training videos, we can't capture literally everything, but just some good ideas that are out there, and some proposed stuff that can be done for the newest recruiter to see, or, for someone who's been in this for a while who just may need a refresher every once in a while. So those are a couple of the major things. And then, of course, the electronic forms that are in progress right now, so that, again, we can kind of ease some of the administrative burden, both for the recruiter and then for the future sailor.
Yeah, we're
and just
shifting to something like, depth certifications through the Mowgli tool that allows everything to be kept electronically and go automatically into the candidate's file.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Because right now there's depth trackers and there's all these trackers that we use, but really, we have a bazillion-dollar system called Salesforce that can do it for us.
Yeah.
And it's helps streamline and, tracking purposes, and just keeps all the ducks in a row when it comes to, the future sailors, the requirements that they're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
Some recruiters might have 5 future sailors, or some might have, 30 or 40 or whatever that looks like. So just making sure that everything stays streamlined and organized, and, ultimately leads to more time that can be spent on mentoring the future sailor by uploading things into a system.
Yeah, so I think it's really about providing that efficiency. So people listening to this shouldn't take away, I think, that what we care about is the sort of the paperwork side of it.
Right.
Yeah, that has to be done so that we have a record of what's happening, and we have a sense of the prospects on that person making it all the way to boot camp. But really, that's all designed to give the recruiters more bandwidth to focus on what really matters in depth, which is that building connectedness through engagement with those future sailors, right? Yeah. So when you think about that, think about your experience, because you've been in recruiting through really good times, really hard times, really good times. What are like, for recruiters, what are the things that you've seen that gets after this really somewhat hard to define, building connectedness? And by that, what I really mean is developing that sense in those future sailors that they won't walk away, right? People don't walk away from relationships that they value, right? Where they feel valued and they value, right? Where it's mutual. What have you seen that helps with that?
So the biggest thing is honestly creating a good, consistent battle rhythm with your future sailors. Well, starting from the time that they're an applicant, right? But creating that battle rhythm and establishing that platform for, like, hey, you're joining the Navy. So making it, I don't want to say full, militant or anything like that, but creating that battle rhythm and that pace that says, hey, you're joining the Navy. This is what's expected of you. And really holding that standard, right? So, they fast forward, they join, they go through the process, they join the Navy, they sign, they swear in, right? And then having that consistent communication, frequent comms, and then, within that, creating or having those expectations, like, hey, I know we're talking, I know we're communicating, but these are the requirements. This is what I need you to do. And then within that, the recruiter or the rank, however they have it set up in their station or division or NTAG, right? Towing that line and then making, a concerted effort to have meaningful DEP meetings or meaningful interactions, not just, hey, come in and sign this and then I'll see you next week. Don't,
how are you doing?
Sir, right. Don't waste their time, right?
Right.
Make the time valuable, make it count, and make them feel important. We talk about, part of it is a sales process, right? Understanding truly why they joined. Like, for real, why did they join, right?
What are they running away from?
Correct.
What are they running to?
Yes.
What do they want?
There's always, we talk about the, the opportunities and advantages, right? Got it. But those are very topical things. Those are things that we can put words to. But the reality is, if somebody, for example, can't afford college, right? They're not going to say maybe outright, hey, my family is in a situation where we can't pay for all these things. Some might say that. But the reality is yes, they want free college, but they've attached that goal to themselves, probably based off of, what all their friends are doing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So to your point, sir, they're running usually from something, whether it's positive, negative, whether they just want to serve and do an honorable thing, whatever that looks like, right?
Yeah.
But we need to attach, all of our interactions to that. So there's that emotional tie to, hey, yes, you're joining the Navy. Yes, you need to stand at attention, salute the flag, report in, right? But why do we do that? Make that count for them. Make it mean something like, hey, that's the American flag. Like, that's what you signed up to represent. Pay respects to it, right? Make it make sense to them. Similar to when we're teaching them certain things within the DEP meetings, we talk about the general orders. Don't make them just memorize the general order. Talk about what does it mean?
Yeah, exactly.
What does that mean? Why is that important for you to know?
Yeah.
How is that going to tie to things you're going to do in boot camp or on the ship or wherever you're going to be stationed?
Yeah, and I think there's also, to get even further afield from your agenda,
Perfectly fine.
I think there's a lot of room, and I think that we owe recruiters, as over time, more tools to help prepare future sailors for boot camp.
Yes, sir.
Give them a sense of what it's like. And I know we recently we have people up at boot camp,
yes, sir,
recording, and so that we can put together
correct
a good product for DEP meetings, so they can actually see sort of POV. This is us marching through the tunnel, right? That pretty much everyone in the Navy probably remembers marching through. So that's important. And then one other thing, the sense I have is that as we came through a period with relatively small delayed entry, right, as we were struggling in 22, 23, into the beginning of 24, recruiters were really focused on filling the funnel, right? And very little time was spent on this, maintaining the relationship with the people you've already got. I know that more of that is happening because there just is more depth, right? And there are requirements. But my sense is it's something like 90% of our time is spent on filling the funnel and 10% on the relationship. What's your perspective on kind of what that balance for a typical recruiter should look like? Because if all you do is fill the funnel, it gets worse and worse and worse because you're losing people you've already brought in. There's some balance in there. You got to fill the funnel, but if you hold on to what you got, every one of those is hundreds of fewer phone calls you got to make, right, to continue to stay above glide slope.
So I think it's multifaceted. So I think just kind of circling back and without using a term that I don't prefer to use, getting back to the basic type thing, and putting it at the forefront of everyone's mind, from skippers to down on to chief recruiters and so on, and just making them aware of hey, these are the trends that we're seeing, and putting it out there, knowing your number is huge. And exactly, if I was a recruiter and I knew hey, it took this many hours to do this and that many hours to do that, and this contract equals this, and whatever the case is.
Yeah, you're paid.
Right. We have a system now that is so powerful that you should be able to know your numbers and know the impact. And not that we should do stuff for the sake of numbers per se, but those numbers equal human beings. So that should be important to everyone in understanding hey, listen, don't make this a wasteful process, right? Don't waste your time, an applicant's, a future sailor's time, their family's time. Don't waste that time. If we're not going to make a concerted effort to truly want to send them to boot camp, then, what are we doing?
Right.
So I think just kind of, honestly, it's not that simple, of course, but, putting it out there, hey, these are some of the metrics that we're looking at.
Yeah.
And then communicating that down.
Right.
And really kind of analyzing it from there and making sure that, everyone knows hey, we know we were kind of at GQ for a little bit, filling the funnel, right? But now we've got to
balance.
Pause, right?
Yeah, and I want every recruiter in the field to understand and to really feel that sense that when you're spending time with your future sailors, you're contributing to the funnel in the sense that you don't. There's a portion you don't have to fill because you kept these. Right. You're not filling the funnel by doing that, but it's an effective use of your time to ensure that, especially the ones that you know are higher risk, that you're continuing to work with them and build that relationship so that and remove barriers for them wherever you can. Their fears, their insecurities, help them with those things so that they have a wonderful opportunity to take advantage of the things the Navy has to offer.
Talk about future obstacles they may have, ways to get around them, give them some pro tips. Things like that.
Yeah, if you really dive into it, you can find out like, hey, this future sailor is just very scared about what are the first few hours at boot camp going to be like, because I don't want to go through that. I'm scared, right? And giving them the exact, like, this is exactly what happens, right? Like, hey, maybe we need an RDC to call in to the next DEP meeting, and we can do that. Right? To say, okay, this is what happens on day one. You get off the bus. This is what you can expect.
That is such a good point, sir. So a couple of times as a chief recruiter, I had folks from RTC come to rank conferences. And I highly recommend, if there's folks that are listening, reach out to RTC through connections, or even our new CMC here.
Yeah, our new CMC was the CMC at RTC, so we have the ability to plug in there.
Yep, and that is so helpful. And they're ready to help too. I did a tour at RTC a couple of times this past year, working on this innovation group, and they want to be a part of the success of DEP positivity and kind of helping fix attrition pre-boot camp, but also helping fix it there. Because even if we send them and they end up attriting there at that point, that doesn't help our cause either. We just have to put somebody else back in the Navy. It falls back, right? Just making it important, I think, is such a big deal. And I think, to your point, we get lost in the sauce with filling the funnel. But we have to find that balance. We have to make it important.
Absolutely.
And there's no better, I'll tell you. So, even now as a chief recruiter, I have some interactions with future sailors, on the Ask a Navy Facebook page or Navy Recruiter Facebook page, or whatever avenue. And there's nothing cooler than somebody reaching out to you after boot camp, that you've helped. I mean, it is so cool. Like, this one little girl reached out and she was like, Master Chief, can you attend my A school graduation? I was like, I couldn't. I was in Ireland, but I totally would have. Like, it's so cool. Like, it feels amazing. And I think if our recruiters can kind of just realize the good thing that they're doing, they're literally changing someone's life. And it's just so cool.
Yeah. That's fantastic. We're
way
just
off.
Threw off.
What's happening is you have a Master Chief talking to a 2-star. Organically, you all are literally working through the wickets.
Okay.
So I'm just sitting here trying to look good for the camera. I hope I'm doing a great job of that. But no, the recruiting's in your DNA. Like, I can just hear the passion behind it. So that's why the conversation is flowing. So I'm just glad to be a part of the conversation.
Yeah, that's cool.
Master Chief, what role does family involvement play in the DEP process? And how do recruiters build support from future sailors' families?
So making them involved at the time of inception, whether that's the interview or testing, whatever piece initially, right? So before MEPS, before the swearing in and the contract, when possible. And then, to be fair, family is defined as, can be anyone that's important to you. It doesn't necessarily have to be your blood family or whatever, but whoever those folks are or those people are that are super important to you, getting them involved right out the gate. Recruiters or ranks or whoever should be asking, like, hey, do the people in your life that are important to you know that you're here right now? Who are they? Asking those questions. Hey, do they want to come in before you go to the next step? Or, hey, when you bring ABCD back here to process or to do your next steps, why don't you bring them with you? Let them, and be clear with them, like, hey, have them write down all their questions, or text it in the notes, whatever they do, right? And bring all of those questions in and free flow whatever they want to ask. No question is silly, whatever the case is, and have those conversations right out the gates, or get them locked in, discuss, whatever the applicant is comfortable discussing, of course, with their family, friends, or their influencers, whatever their goals are. Like, hey, did you know that your daughter wants to be an air rescue swimmer? Did you know that your son, is trying to apply for the nuclear program? Like, did you know that they have scores that qualify for these advanced programs? Or, did you know that your child is, trying to get the Navy to pay for a master's degree, or whatever that their goals are, right? Applicable to them. Asking those questions and then explaining how the Navy not only is going to support that, their goals, but support them as developing as a person, as a leader. It's not just about money. It's not just about jobs. It's about developing them into the future of whatever their future is, and rolling it into the Navy.
Yeah, and I think getting the families where we can involved in the DEP meeting process.
Agreed.
A person that has their mom standing there proud that they're part of this thing is going to be way less likely to walk away after that image is sealed. And so where we can, having that involvement is helpful.
Right.
Yeah.
Like watching them say the Sailor's Creed,
they
get chills.
Yeah.
So
that's amazing.
Yeah, funny little story. When I was at RTC, and recruits were acting up, so they got a thing called a hard card. And on the hard card, who do you respect most in the world? Why did you join? So if they're acting up, we'll get them in there. And we're just going to have a stern conversation, but we put right before them, who do you respect most and why do you join? And you get a whole different type of recruit. They're reminded of that. So even if you go back a couple of steps in their timeline, if their family's right there, like to your point, mom's standing right there. This is a proud moment. And I'm like, hey, what do you think your mom's thinking about this right now? They're talking to other family members about what you're doing.
Yeah.
Lock back in. And they're...
Yep.
So that's awesome.
You'll see
it all ties together.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
Master Chief, if you have any closing remarks, anything you'd like to tell Recruiting Nation before we close out the episode?
Thank you for all your hard work. You guys have done amazing things over the past couple of years, and looking forward to another record-breaking year. That's what we're about now. We just
absolutely
make records and then
break them again.
Break them again.
Yeah,
just keep going.
We're
a broken record.
Yeah.
That was for you, sir.
I'm going to tell Chief Austin what you did in here today. Sir, do you have any closing remarks?
Yeah, no, thanks for joining us. Thanks for coming to be part of Recruiting Headquarters again.
Of course.
Super glad to have you here, and your insights from years of experience and a densely packed career at 18 years as a Master Chief. That's amazing. And for the recruiters out there, this topic is one that you should think about, experiment, try things that lead to better connectedness, that, where we have more engagement with future sailors, and share your ideas across Recruiting Nation on the things that work well. Because ultimately, this is about building those trust-based relationships, preparing them for boot camp, ensuring that they do fulfill the things they had a reason why they signed.
They did.
Fulfill those, and for you as recruiters, they're the opportunity for referrals, right? So, that's the motivation for me in really focusing on this.
All right. I think we learned today that Master Chief tells better dad jokes than I do. So thanks for stealing my thunder or whatever. We're not going to have her back. Also, to that point, you heard the Admiral say it, right? He's encouraging innovation, ingenuity in these particular spaces. So get out there, be creative, lean in, listen to all the points that Master Chief said, communicate those best practices, and let's continue to move Recruiting Nation forward. Don't forget to like, share, or subscribe. If you don't, I'll find out where you work and we'll have a very stern conversation. You guys have a great day. Thanks for joining us.
All right.